1995 was the year when NYPD Blue brought nudity to the Emmys. It was also the year when Braveheart gave Oscar voters something to cheer about, and Alanis Morissette swallowed a jagged little pill at the Grammys. But what about the video game awards? If you've ever wanted to know what old school video games took home the top prizes, then you've definitely come to the right place. Today we're going to recreate Electronic Gaming Monthly's best and worst of 1995, featuring more than 40 categories that range from the biggest game flop to the hottest game babe to the game that was on the most systems. So let me cue up the VHS tape and introduce you to the greatest televised award show to never be broadcast. Brace yourself, the next corner's tough. Live on tape from the historic Dorothy Chandler Pavilion in Los Angeles, California, is Electronic Gaming Monthly's 8th annual Best and Worst Award Show, brought to you in part by REVLON, because of capitalism. And now, a guy who hasn't been acting like himself recently, Cyril Lachelle. Hello and welcome, my name is Cyril, and you're watching Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best and Worst of 1995. It's my mission to be the host and hand out awards, usually to the game that's most deserving of a statue. And there is a statue, it exists, I've seen it for myself. I want you to ignore what this face said to you last year about there not being a real statue, because everything you're about to see is 100% real and rad. Maybe even real rad. Ha ha ha. So 1995 was a big year in gaming. This was the year when the Saturn surprised everybody by launching early. Mortal Kombat went out on tour, and Atari released a compact disc system that makes the Jaguar look a little bit like a toilet. But we're not here to piss all over the new hardware, because this was the year when the PlayStation made three-dimensional gaming the new standard. This year's sponsors would like you to buy a PlayStation as soon as possible. Now cut to compliant applause. Now, be quiet and remain seated as we hand out these very real statues. Okay, I've deemed you quiet enough. Our first category was created to celebrate a year filled with amazing cinemas. Forget the 8-bit cutscenes from Ninja Gaiden, because today's gamers expect cinemas to rival Hollywood movies. In honor of this shift, I want to introduce you to Philosoma, the winner of our first category of the evening, Best Game Intro. If you love a cinematic experience and enjoy good rendered computer graphics, then you're gonna be blown away by this insane shoot 'em up. If you ask me, I think you're also gonna be blown away by this year's strangest game, which is none other than Jumping Flash on the PlayStation. This is a wacky little platformer where you control a mechanized jumping rabbit from a first-person perspective. It shouldn't work, yet somehow Sony was able to bring it all together to be one of the best 32-bit games of the year. And in reverse, you know what game should have worked but didn't? Myst on consoles. Let me tell you, it was on a whole lot of consoles this year. And that's why Myst is the winner of our brand new category, Game on the Most Systems. This thing was on the 3DO, Saturn, PC, PlayStation, a Sega CD, Jaguar CD, and probably a few others I'm completely forgetting about. Enough. 1995 was a year filled with big hardware releases. The 32-bit war erupted thanks to the release of both Sony's PlayStation and Sega's Saturn. Unfortunately, it was also the year that brought us our winner for worst system launch, Atari's Jaguar CD. While Sega certainly tried to win this award with their surprise launch, the Jag CD had no equal this year. It barely had any software, and the two games packaged with it are god-awful. It also looks like a toilet. And I'm not sure I want to be thinking about peeing in my brand new next generation system. One thing you'll have a hard time peeing in is Sony's memory card, the winner of this year's best peripheral. This little guy is cute and portable, which is why he sets a new standard for convenience. On the other hand, Sega is also the big winner for most system peripherals. Okay guys, it's time to admit that the Genesis has a problem. Between the Sega CD, the 32X, the Menacer, and the Activator, Sega has piled anything and everything on this poor Genesis. And that's not even including the power base converter, the 4-player adapter, and the mouse! This better not be how they plan on handling the Saturn. Now, on a more positive note, Sony's PlayStation was Electronic Gaming Monthly's most anticipated console release, just narrowly beating out the Saturn. They were completely won over by Ridge Racer, Twisted Metal, and, of course, an arcade-perfect port of Mortal Kombat 3. Speaking of which, Mortal Kombat 3 is the winner for most anticipated software release. What better way to avoid the arcade crowds than with this cool home version? Ha ha ha. 1995 was a year full of surprising movies. We saw Toy Story surprise audiences with computer-generated animation. While You Were Sleeping surprised Sandra Bullock with Love. And Seven surprised Brad Pitt with his wife's head in a box. Spoiler alert. The few things were as surprising as this year's best movie to game, which goes to True Lies. Sure, we all know the movie is great, but Acclaim, and everybody else for that matter, has a really bad track record turning these big Hollywood blockbuster films into compelling games. You don't need to look any further than the worst movie to game to see what I'm talking about. Acclaim is once again the big winner, this time with Batman Forever. Cover your eyes and hold your nose because this is Acclaim peeing all over a great license. That's the kind of thing you usually say for the Jaguar CD. Also, while we're talking about Batman Forever, it also won the award for Worst Sequel. Remember a few years ago when Batman was a beacon of quality? Those thoughts are stored and backed up in my memory. Believe it or not, Batman has some real competition when it comes to bad games. The winner for biggest game flop goes to a little 3DO title I bet you haven't heard of, Mazer. This was possibly the worst game to come out this year, and it's legitimately surprising that somebody would actually release something this bad. We expected a much better game, especially from a high-profile company like American Laser Games. I should have just let Mad Dog McCree shoot this dumpster fire full of holes. Across the board, 1995 was an incredible year for new franchises. While there were a few sequels here and there, you also saw a lot of originality from Chrono Trigger to Warhawk to Twisted Metal to Jumping Flash. For the first time in years, all three winners of our character categories come from original games. Let's start with Best New Character, a competitive category that ultimately goes to Rayman. From his hilarious animation to the way he yells "yeah" at the end of each level, Rayman rules. Unfortunately, he's not as hot as this year's Best Game Babe, which goes to Sophia from Battle Arena Toshinden. As crazy as it sounds, Sony was actually using this dominatrix babe as the poster girl for the PlayStation. And as somebody used to bondage, I approve. Speaking of sexy, the Best Game Hunk also comes from Battle Arena Toshinden. Look no further than Foe if you want to find a bold and handsome fighter that knows a thing or two about noxious gases. Oh, you guys really like those noxious gases, huh? Me too. Alright folks, we're finally to my favorite part of the show, the technical awards. This was a big year, filled with amazing games on brand new consoles, and 1995 did not disappoint. In the category of Best Animation, the clear winner was Rayman. If you want a game that has Disney smooth animation and cartoon graphics, then you won't do any better than Rayman. This is two-dimensional platforming at its finest. And Rayman doesn't just look good, it's also the winner of Best CD Music. The way the game meshes with the background sounds is terrific, especially when you crank the stereo. The same can be said about this year's winner for Best Cartridge Music. No game was able to match Chrono Trigger, proving once again that no company puts as much time and care into their audio than Square. Hey, other developers, take some notes. While Rayman and Chrono Trigger took home the top prizes for music, they both came up short to Twisted Metal, the winner of Best Sound Effects. This is what CD technology is all about, from the rattle of the gunfire to the screams of the innocent bystanders. This game really roars. By sound alone, you always know who's coming after you, and it's usually that jerk in the ice cream truck. Now, before we check in with our important sponsors, I first want to draw your attention to Loaded by Interplay. While this overhead shoot-'em-up received a mixed reaction from critics, there's no denying that it had an incredible marketing campaign. In fact, it's the winner of Best Game Ad. They're rude, crude, and always hilarious. Check them out now, and we'll be right back after these brief messages.
Pretty amazing.
Amazing food shakes. Amazing food taste.
New superfruits.
Amazing
amazing fruit gummy candy. Big fruit taste that's pretty amazing.
Lovely barbecue, Rufus.
This is a delightful concoction.
It's Crispix Mix, savory barbecue style.
Do I detect a subtle hint of paprika?
I'd die for the recipe.
Well, there's no need to. It's on the box. You don't bake it. You just shake some Kellogg's Crispix cereal with a savory blend of spices. Voila.
I'd do one thing different.
What's that?
I'd put it in a prettier bowl.
Shake up your next barbecue with Kellogg's Crispix Mix Savory Barbecue Style recipe.
NBC Saturday. Bob Hope presents today's funniest young comics, talking about channel surfing.
What do you see in that split second that lets you know it's a bad show? Looks like head, foot, guy, tree, magic hair.
Bodybuilders.
If your neck is as wide as your head, take a day off.
Bob Hope's Young Comedians, NBC Saturday.
Everybody, get back to your seats and reduce your volume because we're back for the exciting conclusion of Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best and Worst Awards of 1995. I am still your host, and this is the part of the show where we hand out genre awards. Let's kick things off with Philosoma, which takes home the statue for Best Shooter. This is now the second win for Sony's action-packed shoot-'em-up, and the EGM editors were won over by the different views and awesome power-ups. Those same editors also fell in love with Ridge Racer, the winner of Best Driving Game of the Year. What is especially impressive about this arcade-perfect port is that it was developed in only a few short months. I'm not sure I can say the same thing about Air Combat, which narrowly beats out Warhawk for the Best Flight Sim of the Year. I'm not sure either of those are flight sims in a technical sense, but let's just go with it. Now, if you spent the whole show rooting for Yoshi's Island, then you'll be happy to know that Super Mario World 2 is the winner of Best Action Game. This was an incredibly competitive category this year, but Nintendo's gorgeous 16-bit platformer is the clear winner. Speaking of 16-bit games, Chrono Trigger handily wins the Best Role-Playing Game category. The EGM guys fought tooth and nail to play this one, and the struggle paid off. Now, when it comes to Best Sports Game, it looks like we might have a new winner in town. NFL Game Day was somehow able to top not only Madden and the rest of Electronic Arts games, but also NBA Jam Tournament Edition. This CD is unparalleled in terms of graphics, and even has the real teams and players. And that just leaves Sushi X's favorite category, the Best Fighting Game. With Mortal Kombat 3, The King of Fighters, Tekken 2, Virtua Fighter, Street Fighter Alpha, and countless other fighting games all vying for the top prize, this was probably the most hotly contested category of them all. But of course, the winner is Battle Arena Toshinden. This is the most innovative fighting game we've seen this year, and best of all, it's the first real three-dimensional fighting game. I think it's safe to say that this is going to be remembered as a true high water mark for the genre. A timeless classic. And that brings us to the moment we've all been waiting for, the best of the best of the best. I'm talking about the games that truly mattered in 1995, the many games of the year. This year, we've decided to start with the system prizes and then ramp up to the overall game of the year. Let's go ahead and start with the Game Boy Game of the Year, which goes to Donkey Kong Land, the pint-sized companion to last year's Game of the Year winner. Speaking of games that won prizes last year, the Game Gear Game of the Year is none other than Super Return of the Jedi. Who knew that was even ported to the Game Gear? Over on the Virtual Boy, Red Alarm managed to wow the editors just enough to win the Virtual Boy Game of the Year prize. That's mostly because it reminded them of Star Fox. Moving on to the 16-bit systems, Sega fans rejoice because Vectorman is the Genesis Game of the Year. This is an innovative use of the new technology and one of the best action games of the year. Now, when it comes to the Super NES Game of the Year, Chrono Trigger takes it with a unanimous vote. Square is well known for its excellent RPGs, and this is its masterpiece. Speaking of RPGs, Lunar Eternal Blue picks up the shiny statue for the Sega CD Game of the Year, while the incredible port of Virtua Fighter hits hard as the 32X Game of the Year. And you'd think that we're nearing the end, but we haven't even got to the next generation consoles yet. If you're looking for an incredible game to feed to your 3DO, then look no further than Gex, the winner of the 3DO Game of the Year. And if you're still clinging to Atari's 64-bitter, then maybe check out the Jaguar Game of the Year, Cannon Fodder. And if you invested all your money in the Neo Geo and you can only buy one cartridge a year, then you should definitely go with the King of Fighters 95, the Neo Geo Game of the Year. And since we're already talking about arcade fighting games, this is probably the right time to throw a statue at Tekken 2, which wins the day with the Arcade Game of the Year. They loved the new characters, the improved graphics, and who am I kidding? I don't have time to talk about this. There are still more systems to get to. I guess that brings me to Panzer Dragoon, the breathtaking shooter that picks up the prize for Saturn Game of the Year. One look and it's easy to see why this incredible game took the award. The graphics haven't been rivaled yet on the Saturn, and this is one of the very best reasons to buy into the 32-bit generation. So now that we've gone through literally every other system, it's finally time to crown the winner of the PlayStation Game of the Year, which just so happens to be the overall Game of the Year. I'm of course talking about Twisted Metal, the most explosive action game you'll play in 1995. The editors loved mauling the competition on the rooftops in the small suburban town. The two-player mode kept many in the office up until the wee hours of the morning, and the thrill never went away. Twisted Metal is a game changer, and it's an easy pick for the Game of the Year. I hate to say this, but that brings us to the end of another incredible episode. This was the year when I object! This man is an imposter. I was fired last year when I revealed that this whole award show is a sham. And then I was replaced by this thing over there. That's no human, it's a perfect android replica that stole my likeness. It's pretty easy to tell because that thing over there has an antenna coming out of its head and can't even say the word 1995. Don't be fooled by what you saw tonight because it was all fake. None of this is real. This is all an elaborate project constructed by some idiot in the future with way too much time on his hands. I need you to wake up and realize that there are no statues here. And that's not even a live audience. It's not even the right year. Those clips are from the 1998 Oscars. All of this was designed to fool you. It's all a lie. The pomp, the circumstances, and yes, even Sushi X, it's all a lie. Now I implore you, stop watching this crap, because I quit. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best and Worst Award Show. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we're going to post new episodes every Tuesday and Friday between now and the end of 2018. That means there are going to be 4 more episodes left. So here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite game of 1995? So, there's a chance you notice that I've missed the Thursday deadline 2 weeks in a row, and I feel terrible about that. But the truth is, I need an extra day to build these episodes. I had no idea how long some of these episodes were going to be when I decided on the Tuesday-Thursday schedule. But had I known, I would have made it Tuesday and Friday. So I hate to do this to you, but I'm just going to finish out the year with new episodes on Tuesday and Fridays. That should allow me to do the regular reviews and the Game Over episodes and everything else you want throughout the week. There's still going to be 2 of these EGM episodes a week, so you're not going to miss out on anything. I just need an extra day to make these episodes shine. I hope you understand, and I hope you'll smash that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,